The Tudors, rise of a legendary dynasty. It is the late 15th century, a time of chaos and uncertainty. England is in the grips of the Wars of the Roses, where rival factions of Lancaster and York wage war for the crown. Against this backdrop, an exiled claimant will rise, seizing an opportunity to unite a fractured kingdom and lay the foundations for a dynasty that will redefine England. This is the story of the Tudors. Part 1. The Rise of the Tudors and the End of the Wars of the Roses. The Wars of the Roses left England scarred by decades of conflict. By 1485, the kingdom was weary of war. Henry Tudor, a Lancastrian heir, had spent much of his life in exile in France. His return to England was a gamble, but it was carefully planned. On August 22, 1485, Henry faced Richard III, the Yorkist king, at the Battle of Bosworth Field. Richard's forces numbered 10,000, while Henry commanded just 5,000 men. Despite the odds, Henry had forged critical alliances. The Stanley family, ostensibly loyal to Richard, shifted their allegiance mid-battle. Richard, in a final act of desperation, led a direct charge toward Henry, but was unseated and killed. His crown was retrieved from the battlefield and placed on Henry's head, marking the end of the Plantagenet era. Henry's ascension as Henry VII brought a fragile peace. His marriage to Elizabeth of York united the houses of Lancaster and York, symbolized by the creation of the Tudor Rose. This marriage was not just a union of individuals, but a calculated political strategy to heal a divided nation. Part 2. Henry VII, the Architect of Stability. Henry VII's reign was defined by caution and pragmatism. He inherited a kingdom weakened by war and riddled with rebellious factions. His early years were marked by challenges from pretenders like Lambert Simnel, who claimed to be Edward, Earl of Warwick, and Perkin Warbeck, who posed as Richard of York. Henry skillfully neutralized these threats through a combination of military might and diplomatic cunning. Henry prioritized economic stability. By fostering trade and negotiating treaties, such as the Magnus Intercursus with Burgundy, he boosted England's economy. His frugality built a treasury that would become the envy of Europe. However, his policies were often unpopular, particularly his use of bonds and recognizances to keep the nobility in check. Strategically, Henry's greatest achievement was securing dynastic alliances. The marriage of his eldest son, Arthur, to Catherine of Aragon aligned England with Spain, one of Europe's most powerful kingdoms. Although Arthur's death in 1502 threatened this alliance, Henry ensured its continuation by arranging for Catherine to marry his younger son, Henry. By the time of his death in 1509, Henry VII had transformed England into a more stable and prosperous kingdom. He left behind a legacy of cautious governance and a secure throne for his son, Henry VIII. Part 3. Henry VIII. Power and Transformation. Henry VIII's reign began with promise. Young, athletic, and charismatic, he represented a new era of leadership, but his reign would be marked by his relentless pursuit of personal glory and a male heir. Henry's 6 marriages shaped his legacy. His first wife, Catherine of Aragon, bore him a daughter, Mary, but no surviving sons. Frustrated, Henry sought an annulment, leading to his dramatic break from the Catholic Church. Declaring himself supreme head of the Church of England, Henry initiated the English Reformation. This move not only severed ties with Rome, but also allowed him to seize monastic lands, enriching the crown and empowering his rule. Henry's subsequent marriages reflected both his desires and his political needs. Anne Boleyn gave birth to Elizabeth but fell from favor and was executed. Jane Seymour provided him with a son, Edward, but died shortly after childbirth. Anne of Cleves was a diplomatic match that ended in annulment, while Catherine Howard's infidelity led to her execution. His final wife, Catherine Parr, survived him and helped reconcile him with his daughters. Beyond his marital intrigues, Henry transformed England. He expanded the navy, building warships like the Mary Rose, and positioned England as a rising maritime power. His reign, however, left a legacy of debt, religious division, and a fragile succession. Part 4. Edward VI and Mary Thirst, a kingdom divided. Edward VI, Henry VIII's only son, became king at the age of 9. His reign was dominated by Protestant reforms, spearheaded by regents like Edward Seymour, Duke of Somerset, and John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland. The introduction of the Book of Common Prayer and mandatory English services marked a significant shift in religious practice. However, Edward's health was fragile, and he died at just 15, leaving the throne in crisis. Mary I, Edward's Catholic half-sister, ascended the throne amidst turmoil. Determined to restore Catholicism, she reversed many of Edward's reforms and married Philip II of Spain. Her reign was marked by the persecution of Protestants, earning her the moniker Bloody Mary. Her loss of Calais in 1558 symbolized the decline of English influence in Europe. Mary's death in 1558 paved the way for her Protestant half-sister, Elizabeth, to take the throne, bringing a sense of renewal to the Tudor dynasty. Part 5. Elizabeth I, the Golden Age. Elizabeth I's reign is remembered as a golden age. Her leadership brought stability to a fractured kingdom. She established the Elizabethan religious settlement, a compromise that maintained Protestantism while allowing some Catholic traditions. Culturally, Elizabeth presided over a renaissance in English literature and drama. Her court supported luminaries like William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe, whose works remain celebrated today. In foreign affairs, Elizabeth faced challenges from Spain, culminating in the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588. This victory secured England's independence and established its naval supremacy. Elizabeth's refusal to marry earned her the title the Virgin Queen. She skillfully used her single status as a diplomatic tool, maintaining alliances without the entanglements of marriage. Her death in 1603 marked the end of the Tudor dynasty, but her legacy endured as one of England's greatest monarchs. The Tudors reshaped England, steering it through religious upheaval, political intrigue, and cultural renaissance. From Henry VII's cautious consolidation to Elizabeth I's golden age, their story is one of ambition, resilience, and transformation. This is the legacy of the Tudors, a dynasty that forever changed the world.